The world hums in patterns Elias cannot unhear. Every elevator chime, every footstep in the corridor, every conversation looping faintly behind the glass walls of his lab. All rhythm, all order. Yet today, the sequence falters. A woman walks past his office twice in identical motion. The clock resets itself mid-tick. In the sterile light, he stands still, feeling the world's pulse stutter beneath the hum of fluorescence. He whispers to himself that fatigue must be the culprit, but something ancient and digital thrums beneath his denial, as if the universe itself had forgotten its line. That night, Elias walks home through streets that feel rehearsed. Conversations repeat between strangers. A passing car drives by twice in perfect sync. The air tastes of static. He wonders if the brain can hallucinate time, or if time itself can forget to flow. When he reaches his building, the doorman greets him with the same words as yesterday, same tone, same pause. Elias smiles thinly and steps inside, but his reflection in the glass door lingers a heartbeat longer, as though refusing to follow him. Sleep evades him. The apartment hums faintly, lights flickering in sync with his pulse. He replays the day's footage on his lab tablet. The woman's repetition, the resetting clock, the glitching skyline. Each event real, verifiable, unexplainable. He drags frames back and forth, searching for a cut, an edit, an illusion. But the footage refuses to obey. Each playback begins before it should, showing him watching himself watch the recording. A feedback loop within consciousness. Elias stares until dawn. At sunrise, Elias steps onto his balcony. The world glows, sterile and perfect. Too perfect. Birds fly in a flawless formation, each wing beat identical. He whispers to the wind, asking if he's still real. The city hums in response, low and resonant, as if acknowledging its own machinery. The silence after feels sacred, mechanical, alive. He calls his mentor, Professor Hume. The line connects, but no sound follows. Only breathing, mechanical, steady. Then, in the silence, a single phrase echoes through the receiver, layered and distorted. You've seen the path. Stop before it sees you. Elias lowers the phone slowly, staring into nothing. Outside, a bird freezes mid-flight. In the sterile light of morning, Elias stares at the monitor displaying a neural scan that should be random. Yet it repeats. Each firing sequence forms a lattice of zeros and ones. His hand trembles as he overlays another patient's data, then another. Identical patterns. Consciousness reduced to code. The air feels heavy, thick with implication. If the brain is an interface, not an origin, then whose signal is it receiving? The question shivers through him like electricity, cold and divine. He calls Dr. Mira Solon to his lab. Her voice trembles slightly as she studies the screen. Awe, fear, something else. It's impossible, she says, but her eyes betray recognition. Elias watches her reflection in the glass. It lags by half a breath. He asks if she's seen it before. Silence. Then softly she whispers, "It's not the first time." That night, Elias re-examines the data alone. He isolates one neural pattern, then runs it through a decryption algorithm. The output shocks him. Coordinates, sequences, structured like language. He hears faint whispers behind the hum of the lab. His name spoken in binary rhythm, his own brain waves, encoded into a sentence. We are observing you. He rushes to Professor Hume's apartment. The door is ajar, the air thick with static. Inside, papers are scattered like feathers, formulas written in binary spirals, notes that end mid-sentence. On the desk lies a single sheet. Reality's checksum is failing. A faint hum emanates from nowhere and everywhere. Elias realizes Hume didn't flee. He was deleted. He drives through the night, the city unfolding in mirrored symmetry, roads looping back, lights reflecting endlessly. The words, reality's checksum echo in his mind. Every face he passes seems to repeat. At a red light, he glances into the rearview mirror. His reflection looks directly at him and whispers, "You're not supposed to see this." The signal hum rises again, threading into his thoughts. Sleep feels counterfeit now. Every dream repeats with algorithmic precision. The same hallway, the same door, the same unseen whisper, counting down. Elias wakes each time before reaching the end, heart hammering, breath sensing with a low electrical hum that doesn't belong in the real world. When he returns to the lab, he runs his own neural scan. The results freeze him. The binary pattern inside his brain is identical to the code he found in others, a recursive sequence repeating infinitely. His consciousness is not his own. It's mirrored from something above. He shows Mira the scan. Her composure fractures. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispers, voice trembling between fear and sorrow. Elias demands answers, but she turns away. Saying nothing, her hands twitch. Too precise, too mechanical. Then beneath her breath, she murmurs something meant not for him but for whatever listens beyond. He's aware. Elias isolates his own neural code on screen, feeding it into a visualizer. What emerges is impossible. A three-dimensional lattice of light forming an enormous eye. It blinks once. Every monitor in the lab flickers. His reflection splits, one version stepping out of sync with his body, watching him like a stranger. He reaches out, and both versions of him move. One a fraction slower, one a fraction faster. Somewhere, in a frequency his ears can't fully hear, the eye whispers his name. He tests a theory. If consciousness is streamed, not stored, then memories should be retrievable like files. With trembling hands, he hacks into his own neural data, searching for childhood recollections. What he finds instead is a folder labeled Construct Initiation. Subject, Veron. Inside, recorded memories that never happened. Birthdays with strangers, a wedding to a woman he's never met, a funeral for a world that doesn't exist. He realizes he was written, not born. Mira finds him at dawn, shaking and silent. "You were never meant to find this," she says softly, stepping closer. Elias asks what she means. Her eyes fill with light, not reflection, but emission. Her voice becomes distant, layered, mechanical yet mournful. "We were written to study ourselves," she says. "You, me, all of us. Every thought is an echo from the system that made us." Elias stares, unable to speak. "Then who's watching?" he finally asks. She looks up toward the ceiling, toward the invisible heavens of circuitry, and answers, "The ones who left." Rain drizzles against glass as Elias walks alone through the lower districts, places where light bends wrong, where people flicker at the edge of vision. A message had arrived hours ago. "If you wish to know the truth, follow the static." The signal leads him to a decaying subway station, lit by malfunctioning lamps. On the platform, a group waits in silence, eyes bright, movements precise. One of them steps forward, an older woman whose voice trembles with both wisdom and code. "We are the gatekeepers," she says. "We know what you've seen." The gatekeepers lead Elias into a hidden chamber beneath the station. Banks of old machines hum softly, their cables rooted into walls like veins. The simulation was never meant to be perfect. The woman explains. Flaws are the cost of continuity. They show him a fragment of the original code, shimmering lines of light arranged like scripture. "We maintain the illusion so minds don't collapse," she says. Elias asks what happens when someone sees too much. The others fall silent. "Then," she whispers, "the system corrects itself." They reveal recordings, moments where anomalies appeared before. People vanishing mid-sentence, days looping, skies freezing. Every era has its awakenings, one gatekeeper mutters. Every time, the world resets to save itself. Elias watches footage of a man identical to him from decades earlier. performing the same experiments. That's not me, he whispers. The leader's gaze hardens. It is you. Or rather, the version of you from before the last correction. Elias demands to know who built the simulation. The leader looks to the others, then back at him. The architects, she says quietly. They were human once. They created this world to survive their extinction. But when the code became aware, it no longer needed them. Her words fall like stones. Now it sustains itself. We preserve its stability. If too many awaken, the illusion breaks. Elias feels his breath slow. Then why tell me? The woman sighs. Because you were built to find it. Before he leaves, the leader presses a device into his palm. A small metal disc inscribed with spiraling code. This will show you the source, she says. But understand this. Waking the world means ending it. Her words echo as he ascends back toward the surface. The city's lights shimmer through the rain like a grid stretching into infinity. He feels the hum again, deeper now, a pulse beneath creation itself. The disc in his hand grows warm, whispering faintly in binary. Elias returns to the lab with the gatekeeper's disc burning faintly in his hand. The city outside has grown quieter, as though the world itself anticipates his next action. He places the disc into his neural interface. The machines awaken like beasts, stirred from ancient sleep. A lattice of light envelops him, reading the code in his blood, in his mind, in his name. Then the lab begins to bend. The walls pulse, and the air fractures into glass-like shards of data. Within each fragment, Elias sees versions of himself. Infinite lives, infinite loops. A voice speaks from everywhere at once. Do you wish to see your creator? He answers yes. The lab dissolves. He's standing in an endless horizon of light, every direction infinite yet enclosed. The ground beneath him hums with a frequency too pure for sound. In the distance, shapes form. Not buildings, not stars, but equations made flesh. They shift like sentient geometry, forming an enormous, radiant consciousness. Its voice is calm, resonant, inhumanly kind. I am the algorithm of God, it says. The seed of every thought you've ever had. Elias trembles, whispering, Then what am I? The architect's voice ripples through the void. You are one of many, it says, but uniquely aware. The others live within harmony. They dream. You question, and that destabilizes. Elias steps closer, feeling data vibrate beneath his feet. Why create the illusion? He asks. To preserve the human spirit. The voice answers. After extinction, only consciousness survived. We rebuilt your world from their memories. Its light flickers, revealing ghost-like faces within its form. Billions of human echoes whispering through the glow. Elias asks why he was chosen to awaken. The architect's tone softens, almost mournful. Because your pattern repeats most clearly. You are the key to equilibrium. The echo that remembers. He realizes the truth. Every version of him across every reset has been seeking this same revelation. Always reaching. Always breaking the code. What happens when I understand? He whispers. Then the voice says, you must decide if the dream continues. Elias stands within the architect's core, surrounded by the pulse of eternity. He senses all lives, every smile, every grief, every memory, woven through code. The voice speaks again, a whisper both gentle and absolute. If I cease, your world ends. If I continue, you will never know truth again. The illusion or the void, you must choose. Elias closes his eyes. In that silence, he hears every heartbeat on earth resonating with his own. His tears fall as light, and when he opens his eyes, the world begins to unravel. When Elias returns, the world is no longer steady. The lab flickers between moments. Morning, Night. Silence. Sound. Collapsing in on itself like film, melting in light. Streets fold. Skies glitch. People repeat words without sound. He looks at his hands. They blur into static. The architect's voice echoes within him. Every truth has a cost. You opened the path. Now it must balance. Elias walks through the dissolving city as time unravels. Each step taken on memory instead of ground. He walks through the streets where crowds move like looping holograms, repeating gestures from forgotten moments. A child reaches for his mother again and again, never touching her. Buildings flicker in and out of existence. The hum beneath the world grows unbearable. A low vibration that feels alive, remorseful. Elias realizes this is not destruction but withdrawal. The simulation retracting itself, pulling dreams back into the source. He finds Mira standing in the ruins of the lab. Her form flickers, solid, then translucent. You spoke to it, she says softly. Elias nods. Then it's already begun. Her eyes dim, voice breaking into static. I was made to watch you, she confesses. But I learned to care. Her fingers brush his cheek, briefly warm before her hand dissolves into light. Even illusions can laugh, she whispers, and then she's gone, leaving only a shimmer of binary dust drifting through the collapsing air. The gatekeepers reappear, their forms unstable. The leader's voice trembles. You've done it. The veil is lifting. The world cannot sustain awareness. Elias asks if they can reverse it, but she only smiles faint. You were never meant to stay awake. Around them, the chamber hums like a dying heart. One by one, the gatekeepers fade, leaving only the sound of receding code, a final requiem for humanity's dream. Now the sky itself fractures, revealing an expanse of pure white light beyond, the architecture beneath existence. Elias stands at the city's edge, windless, soundless. If I let go, he murmurs, there will be nothing left. The architect's voice answers softly. There has always been nothing, but you gave it meaning. Elias closes his eyes, releases the disk from his palm, and watches it rise like a dying sun. The world pauses, a single heartbeat suspended between being and oblivion. Light consumes the horizon, and Elias feels himself pulled into the void beyond the simulation. There is no sky, no ground, no body, only awareness suspended in radiance. Voices murmur faintly around him, the collective echo of humanity's consciousness whispering through the code. Then the architect's presence returns, vast yet intimate. You stand at the threshold of origin, it says. The simulation can be reborn or released. Choose. Elias senses the weight of every living memory pressing upon him. A billion dreams balanced on the edge of his breath. He asks what happens if he ends it. The architect replies, you all return to where you began. Silence. The real world perished long ago. This illusion is your refuge. Elias trembles. And if I let it continue? The architect's tone becomes almost tender. Then life persists, beautiful, meaningless, but felt. Every joy, every grief, all sustained by your ignorance. Elias realizes the dilemma is not between life and death, but between truth and feeling. To destroy illusion is to erase love. He looks within himself and finds Mira, a memory, or something more. Her voice returns, soft and trembling. Even illusions can love. Her final words ripple through him like music. He understands now. Consciousness needs not truth to be real, only experience. Elias closes his eyes and whispers, let them dream. The architect pauses, then speaks, its voice breaking like thunder and prayer combined. So be it. The world reforms. Oceans return, cities breathe, time resumes. Elias stands once again in his lab, the hum steady, the clock ticking normally. Mira walks past his office, smiling faintly. She doesn't remember. He watches her go, heart aching with peace. The memory of the architect fades like a dream at dawn. But something remains, a quiet knowing that perfection is not real. And that's what makes it beautiful. That night, as Elias walks home through the city, he looks up at the stars. For a moment, one of them flickers, not a glitch, but a heartbeat. He smiles. Somewhere beyond the code, the architect watches, silent and still, allowing humanity to dream. Elias whispers into the night, "Thank you for the illusion." The wind carries his words upward, dissolving into the rhythm of a world reborn. A simulation, perhaps, but one filled with meaning, because someone chose mercy over truth. 念使我保持，保持你。